Your project view, as we mentioned in a previous video, gives you access to all of the various assets, prefabs, and various things that you can use inside your game. Again, it's like a library of everything that you could potentially add into the scenes of your game, and it's also analogous to a folder structure which actually exists on your hard drive. So what I want to do in this video is show you that folder structure, show you how you can access it. Now, I do not recommend that you do a lot of editing to your project folder through the OS. Do all of your editing that you can through Unity so that the proper associations to your various assets can be made.
Right. Unity actually maintains a separate folder structure called a library. The library contains a lot of metadata that contains the associations between different assets that you have in this folder. So as you move stuff around inside of your project from one folder to the other, that library is being updated. When you move stuff around inside of Explorer, those associations aren't being handled until you come back into Unity, and it may or may not pick up those changes, which could cause problems inside of your project when you go to save it.
That's right. We'll actually show you that. Now, what I'm going to do is select our audio folder. We could select anything in here, really, but I'll just right-click and choose Show in Explorer. And this opens up, in my case, because I'm on Windows, the actual Windows Explorer window for our project. And you'll see that everything listed here is analogous to the folder structure we have inside our project view. So you can see audio, MyFBX, scenes, standard assets, all the way down to Terrain Toolkit. If we open them up, we'll see the same things inside each one. So if I expand scenes, we have Demo Snow World as well as Level 1 Snow World. And if I open this up and jump inside scenes, we get exactly the same thing. That's because the two of these are related. But as Lee was saying a moment ago, we don't want to make a lot of changes here because of the associations that Unity has made through the library folder. And I'd like to take just a second and point that out to you. So if we jump back to our assets level, and you can see this is, again, corresponds to exactly what you see inside your project view. And then if we go a level higher, so let's jump up from assets to snow level, which is the name of our project. You see that aside from assets, we also have a library folder, and I'm not going to mess with anything in here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be deleting or going through and adjusting anything in here.
That's right, but I do want to point this out. This is where all of that association data exists. When we drag something from Windows Explorer into the project view and it gets associated and copied over, this is where all of those associations live.
Right.
The reason that's important to you is if you come in here to your assets folder and think, oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and create a brand new folder and fill it full of all kinds of other assets, you can do it, but it could lead to problems later on if the proper associations are not made inside of Unity.
Right. If you don't mind, I'd like to demonstrate something.
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead and inside of your project window, open up MyFBX.
All right.
Now go to your camp mat under materials.
Okay.
And if you look at it, it actually has a material. Now, if you right-click on that material, you should be able to show or select dependencies.
Okay.
And it's pointing you to that camp diffuse underscore 1024. Go ahead and jump back into Explorer.
Okay. Here we are back in Explorer.
All right. Now, open up MyFBX folder. Now, open up the camp.fbm. And there is that folder. Go ahead and cut that out of that folder.
Okay. Actually, you can just put it someplace else?
Actually, I want to move it to a different folder inside of there.
Okay, so we'll cut it. And where do you want to put it? Anywhere in particular? Or do you care?
Go right into the root of assets.
Okay.
And then paste it right there. All right. Now, go ahead and jump back into Unity.
All right. And, ooh, it's already thinking and doing stuff. And, oh, there you go. So you just pointed out what our problem is.
Yep. So now go ahead and select off of Camp Mat and back onto it. Now, if you notice, it's lost its association to that texture. What you did is you've modified that asset outside of Unity. Unity still sees it. The little circle that you saw was it re-importing that asset, and you can see it as the second entry inside of your project called camp diffuse underscore 1024.
That's right, because it keeps everything alphabetical regardless of whether or not it's a particular asset or a folder. It's now listed between audio and MyFBX.
Right. Unity's smart enough to go, oh, look, I found this new texture. I'm going to import it. but unfortunately it wasn't smart enough to pick up that that was the same texture that you had associated with that material. So this is one of those things where you have to be very careful on what you do inside of Unity and what you do outside. Now I'm going to demonstrate the reverse. Go ahead and take that texture and drag it on the sample inside of the material.
All right.
So now we've reassociated that texture with that material.
So basically, we fixed the problem that we created inside of Explorer.
Right. Now go ahead and move that texture back to where it was, but inside of the project view.
Okay, so let's go back into MyFBX, jump into Camp FBM. I think that was the only thing in there.
Yep,
so.
we're going to drag it back into that folder.
And boom.
Okay, now go ahead and select your camp mat again.
Okay.
As you can see, it still remembers that association. It's updated the asset database to make sure that that texture is still pointing to the right spot, no matter where you point it or move it around inside of the project view. Works great as long as you're inside of Unity. You start doing stuff outside of Unity, you can cause problems in a very large project. You may not even notice it right away.
Right. Now, if we jump back out to Explorer and we go back into MyFBX and Camp FBM, we'll see that that did actually get put back in its proper position inside of Explorer. It's just by doing it through Unity, we've allowed all of the proper associations to be made.
Mm-hmm. It's maintaining the metadata behind the scenes and updating everything as it needs to.
That's right. And that is just a quick look at your project folder, how it corresponds to the real folder structure inside of your OS. I mean, in this case, of course, we're using Windows Explorer, but the same thing is true on a Mac as well. And that's everything I wanted to show here. Is there anything else you want to throw in?
No, I think that's good. Covering of everything it does.
Excellent. That will wrap up this video. Thanks a lot.